Story time!
Tiggy and the Christmas bauble. George and Lily were tucked up warm in their beds, fast asleep. It was the coldest December in 50 years. Mum and Dad were downstairs. The log fire was blazing away and they were having a glass of wine with some nibbles whilst Mum finished wrapping the Christmas presents. Dad was catching up with the latest football scores. Ah, no! Mum asked if everything was all right. Leeds got beaten 7-0 tonight by Man City. Dad was a Leeds fan and he knew he'd be in for a roasting tomorrow at work from the lads. Mum chuckled to herself. Oh well, never mind. When the presents were wrapped, Mum went off to bed to snuggle up with her hot water bottle, a glass of wine and her latest book. Dad, on the other hand, decided he would torture himself and watch the footy highlights. He fell asleep in his chair and he awoke to a bang. He heard someone muttering away to themselves. He looked at the television, but it was off. They must have timed out. What time was it? How long have I been asleep? Could it be Mum banging to say that he hadn't gone to bed? There it was again, someone muttering, but it wasn't a normal voice. It was a high-pitched and quiet at the same time. He looked around, but he couldn't see anyone. The voice said, "We have a problem. Someone isn't in bed and I think they heard me." Dad was confused. He was sure must still be dreaming. After all, who has a voice like that? He laughed to himself and set off upstairs. He was just at the bottom of the stairs when he heard the voice say, "It's okay, he's going." Dad spun around and flicked the lights back on. He looked around but he couldn't see anything. But he did notice a bauble on the Christmas tree was wobbling. The high-pitched voice said, "Oops." Dad went over and he couldn't believe what he was seeing. Sat on a branch of the tree was a tiny elf. Dad had to pinch himself to make sure he really was awake. "Who are you?" he asked. But the elf didn't say a word. He tried to act like a Christmas decoration. So Dad asked again. And the elf said, "My name is Tiggy." "Why are you here?" "I'm here to collect the letters from Santa." Dad saw the letters waiting to be posted the next day. The letters were bigger than he was. Dad was a bit confused. Tiggy showed him how he collect the letters. He touched his nose 3 times, he turned his hat round, he pulled his ears, and he said, "Shrink these letters down." The letters flew from the mantelpiece and into a little bag. He said when he gives the letters to Santa, he did it all in reverse and the letters would grow again. Dad was amazed. Tiggy said, "I have to go now. I'm sorry, but I have a lot of houses to go to tonight." Dad fully understood, and off he went to bed with a warm feeling in his heart and a big smile on his face. In the morning, George and Lily got up. They ran to the lounge to see if their letters had gone. They were so pleased to see that they had. Dad was walking around still with that big smile on his face. Dad, look! Santa took our letters." "I know. Tiggy came and collected them." The kids were confused. "Who's Tiggy?" They had asked Dad to explain, but they didn't believe him. The next night, Dad waited for Tiggy. He had said that he would bring the letters from Santa for the children. He had also confirmed that both of the children were on the good list. Dad had fallen asleep again, but Tiggy woke him up. George had asked for a Sonic the Hedgehog game and toys, and Lily had asked for Sylvanian Families figures and a house. "Goodness me," Tiggy said. "Children these days want so much. When I was younger, children wanted a little wooden train or a book. How times have changed." And then he went on to say, "PS5s, mobile phones and tablets are very common." He often wanted to swap them for a hoop with a stick or a bike. And again, Tiggy had to go. He wished Dad a good night and a happy Christmas. He said that he would be helping Santa on Christmas Eve, but he said that if Dad was up, that he couldn't come in. Rules were rules after all. Everybody in bed. Dad totally understood, and he said, "I'm sad that I won't see you again, Tiggy." The children ran downstairs in the morning. They were delighted that Santa had replied. Their excitement was growing. It was almost Christmas. It had snowed a few times, and the Christmas lights of the year were beautiful. The days flew by, and the Christmas lists were changing every few days. On Christmas Eve, it was time for bed. Games had been played, and a pizza had for tea, and a plate of food left for Rudolph and Santa, along with a glass of milk. Dad had said that he wanted to leave a little something for Tiggy. He had wrapped it up and put his name on it. It was a bell for his hat. The children went to bed at 8 p.m. after watching The Snowman and the Snow Dog. That was their favourite Christmas film. By 9 p.m., Mum and Dad had been upstairs 6 times to tell the children to go to sleep. Normally, the children would wake up between 2 and 4 on Christmas morning. Mum and Dad went to bed at 10:30, but Dad couldn't sleep. He really wanted to see Tiggy again. He eventually fell asleep and woke up at 3:26 with the children bouncing on the bed, screaming with excitement, "Santa's been!" Mum and Dad said that they could open one present each, but then they must go straight back to bed. George picked a small thing. It was a matchbox car. And Lily picked a bigger thing. It was a Sylvanian family ice skating rink, and she was so happy. Mum took the children back to bed and told them that they must not get up again until 8 a.m. She was absolutely shattered. Dad woke at 7 and he went downstairs. He turned on the oven and went into the lounge. He opened the curtains and he lit the fire ready for everybody coming down. Mum came down just after and she put the turkey in the oven and made some pigs in blankets. The excited children arrived at 8 o'clock and they all went into the warm lounge to open presents. A Sonic teddy and a new game for George, and a dress and an ice skating Sylvanian families for Lily. They also had a candy cane each, chocolate coins and a mandarin. Dad was tidying up when he saw something moving on the tree. He looked again and saw a bauble with his name on it, Christopher. A letter was attached to the bauble. It said, "Thank you for my bell. I absolutely love it. I hope you like your bauble. Happy Christmas from Tiggy and Santa." They called the children over. They were amazed. It was a dream come true. Best Christmas ever.